Ramble.
Thank you to Honey for sponsoring this episode of the TryPod.
Welcome to the spookiest episode of the TryPod. We are the Try Guys, and it's our Halloween special. You've got Ned. You've got Keith. Wow, that was good. Thanks. You've got Eugene.
Blood.
And you've got Zach. Boogity bye.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Today is very exciting. We are going to be proving definitively that ghosts exist. We've got some stories from you, the listeners. We've got some ghost stories from the people inside this very office. But first up, Halloween. It's a-comin'. Wait, when does this come out in relation to Halloween? Is it
This comes out
Today
on
is Halloween.
Halloween has a come.
It's coming.
Halloween came.
We're split within the Try Guys, and I got to start here because two of us understand. We don't just believe. We know that Halloween is the greatest holiday, the greatest season of the whole wide world year, and two of us insinuated before the podcast started that we should just skip this holiday and go straight to Christmas time.
Third best.
Wow. You're nuts.
Third best. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Absolutely.
In that order. Presents and food, and then you have lots of food, and then you have
Just
food for
candy,
babies.
Just candy.
Which
You're
is
not going to
baby's
make
food.
any good food. You're just going to eat candy.
And candied
corn.
apples.
What's
And
your
candied
order?
corn.
Look, Zach, it's the same reason I'm not such a huge fan of karaoke. It's like you got to do
This is the company you keep,
Well,
Keith.
I said third
for
favorite.
me,
I don't think it's
for me, one of the reasons is it's a whole thing. It's like a performance. You have to get on a costume, and you have to have a good costume, and it's got to be witty. It's like, I spend every day making stuff for the people. Can I just on my day off chill?
Ned wants to go as
I like
just a
carving
cool dude.
pumpkins. I like carving pumpkins. I like doing costumes, but I'm saying it's a whole thing. And sometimes when you really haven't planned your costume and it's a week away,
It's stressful.
it's a little stressful.
Okay, that's point. Eugene, counterpoint.
Counterpoint, Halloween is the best holiday. The bestest holiday of the year. I think that, Ned, you are slightly biased because you also are not a horror film guy. And you also don't care much for haunted houses or mazes.
Sure.
So you're only looking at Halloween as a single, night of culture, while I view it as a month. It's not a lifestyle.
Look,
Yeah.
I get the lifestyle. I drink pumpkin spice lattes.
No, that's not Halloween.
I carve
That's fall.
pumpkins. I love fall. Oh, guys, can we talk about fall? Fall's the
Crunchy
best.
leaves,
Crunchy
sweaters.
leaves and sweaters and football is on.
Girls going, oh, it's so cold.
That's great. That's me. That's me in a coffee shop.
Zach going, do you think I should wear a jacket?
I should have worn a
I don't
jacket.
know, man. I should have worn a jacket.
I have discovered my biggest fear in life is being too cold, and I should just always, if I ever ask that question again, just say, Zach, bring the jacket. And
Yeah,
if you're
you
debating
never bring
between the
it.
two jackets, bring the bigger jacket.
Zach, you love Halloween too, right?
Dude, I fucking love Halloween. And yeah, I agree. It's not just a day. It's a month. The way that y'all get amped for Christmas time.
I'm already amped for Christmas.
No,
Same.
you're not allowed.
No.
That's where I put my
I
foot
am.
Starts
down.
after
Nope.
October.
Christmas
Give us
has already
this time.
started.
And Christmas is full of ghosts.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
look,
it does have
I'm not
ghosts.
here to
Christmas
talk
past.
about the Christmas, yes or no, but you don't get half the year. You gotta let Halloween have its time.
Sure.
I also believe,
But I'm excited. I'm booking my flights. I'm shopping for presents.
You gotta let Thanksgiving have its time too.
Thanksgiving's really just greater Christmas.
It is mired in controversy. The story of it's probably.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the more we start to put a magnifying glass over it, the less we'll appreciate
That's
it. But
a good
I love
point.
the meal. The meal is the
all
fun
about the
part.
food. It's all about what
Here's the
food does
rule.
Halloween have going for
Here's
it?
the rule. On
Apples.
November 1st or very late on Christmas, you're allowed to watch The Nightmare Before Christmas. That is the official handoff. It's the handshake. It's the agreement between us that says we can both get along, and November is our buffer zone. That's our DMZ between our holidays, okay?
I feel like Thanksgiving's getting later and later into November. Does anyone else feel like that? No. I feel like it used to be the second week, and now it's like the last day.
Well, it does fluctuate.
It fluctuates.
It got so late the last few years. I'm like Thanksgiving, and then it's
Isn't
December.
always the third Thursday or something, or
I
I think it's the last Thursday.
the last Thursday of Thanksgiving?
Yeah, but sometimes that's not, you know.
So sometimes that could be the 23rd,
Basically 3 weeks,
24th.
yeah.
Sometimes that could
Be
be
the
30th.
27th or
Whatever
something.
the last
yeah.
number is, the 30th.
You know what's also a tricky little bitch?
Huh.
Hanukkah. It changes every year.
I never know when Hanukkah
Because
is.
us Jews, we have our own calendar, and it just like is all it's like a lopsided
days are
wheel
in
rolling
it?
around.
How many days are in that calendar?
Fuck if I know, man. I think it's different every year.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wait, Zach, when did you get into spooky stuff?
When did I get into spooky stuff? Probably early childhood. I loved the thrill of scary movies, and honestly, even just friends describing scary movies to me would like send chills down my spine. The first time that my friend explained the red rum scene in The Shining, he just told it to me. It was my neighbor across the street. Shout out to John Kim, and we then hi John, and then we went to my house and like had a sleepover and we watched it. But you always have to start the horror movies after midnight. So it was probably, I guess, as I'm saying that, like 4th grade to middle school.
And so you like that feeling? You like
love
that scary feeling?
that feeling. When I watch horror movies, I laugh. I'm elated. To me, it's like the scariest thing. And same with haunted houses. I scream and then I giggle in delight because it's elicited such a raw, visceral reaction.
I did develop a greater appreciation for haunted houses after we worked inside a haunted house for a Try Guys video, transforming into monsters.
It is very funny. The people who are the workers of the haunted house, they have so much fun scaring the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
It is their true joy in life is just to fuck
Trying
you
to
up.
decide if I
artwork.
should go this weekend. I only have Saturday night to potentially go down.
I have tickets on
We
Friday.
are filming on
I
Saturday.
can't go on Friday because I'm landing at like midnight, so I can't go Friday.
We'll
I
figure
know
it
we're
out.
filming on
What
Saturday.
if we
but we're
all
only filming,
just
like, a little
went
bit.
apple picking?
Spooky apple.
Spooky
And then we
apples.
made our own cider afterwards.
There's always like
that sounds fun.
in TV. There's related to apple picking. There's like bobbing for apples. There's always these cool Halloween parties that people go to in like in elementary and middle and high school. I only ever went to like one Halloween party in high school, and I don't remember that it was scary. I remember that I was just started dating a girl and that she was trying to make out with me, but I was clear that her parents didn't want that to happen. So it was a different kind of scared.
Wait, the
'Cause I also
The parents were at the party?
yeah, the parents were because it was at her house. It was at my we weren't quite boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but it was at her house and it was in her garage. And like I clearly her parents was like any suspicious of any guy dating their daughter. And then she kept trying to pull me into a corner and make out. I'm like, no, your parents are here at this party. We will get in so much trouble.
Were the parents just like watching the party?
They were just like hanging out adjacent to the party.
In case anybody like gets maked out or drinks.
This was Tennessee. You gotta remember, this is
Yeah.
like Bible Belt. This is like parents
Yeah.
are making sure nothing's happening.
Leave room for Jesus.
Have you ever attended one of those alternative Halloween events at churches where it's about hell?
No, but I know
What?
of them.
I went to one as a kid.
Yeah, I know about those.
Guys, hold the phone, reverse this tape, tell me everything.
It doesn't need to be a long conversation. It's just one of those things where it's kind of like a little fair that they put together
Yeah.
in, say, like a gymnasium, and it's sort of like a live haunted house play, but everything is related to
Going to hell?
what would happen if you sinned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, that sounds awesome.
with like bobbing for apples in the corner.
Yeah, and then
Is
you
it
still get
hardcore?
candy.
Yeah, it's like an alternative to going out and celebrating what they saw as like a pagan ritual and trick or treating. Instead, you go to church.
Is it like spooky fun hell, or is it like
it's weirdly like, I mean, the acting's not very good. I mean, I went once as a kid because my parents just didn't want to take us out, and yeah, I was really disappointed. The devil stuff was fun, but I don't think I was supposed to like it.
Yeah,
but of
it
course, I'm the little
backfired
kid going
on
like, that guy's cool.
Eugene,
but yeah,
I want to
no.
ask the same question you asked me. Do you remember your first formative horror experience movie?
First formative horror movie.
Yeah, like when you were a kid, what really got you? What
I
grabbed
think really probably was Scream.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that was the one where it was the best entry point to like real horror films because it was a meta commentary on the horror genre, but it was also watchable because it's just a slasher flick. So it wasn't, it's scary in a good way, but not like grotesque. So yeah, I think Scream was probably the first one that got me. But then yeah, after that, I just loved horror films. I think one thing I'd like to point out is Halloween as a holiday, I think, has evolved in recent years, primarily because of things like social media. I think that the pressure to have a good costume is now universal. I will point out, especially now that I'm out, that my most formative years for being a Halloween lover was college. Because when I was out as a gay man, gay men and women had extra pressure to have good costumes or have sexy costumes. Because when we went out, we were trying to get laid. All straight guys were also trying to get laid, but
we don't know how to do that.
You guys could be
beer cans, boners.
You could. There was a long time where you could just be goofy or funny.
Ketchup bottle.
Yeah, so like Halloween preparation for me in college was like weeks, in big groups, and we'd have this whole theme, and that really taught me that this was something that would be remembered forever. And now I think that there's like cosplay and Instagram. Everyone feels more pressure to have a clever costume because we really appreciate something that's like a cool wink or took a lot of time. But that wasn't always the case. I don't think that was the case 10 years ago.
I will say that if I had to pick what element of Halloween am I keeping, I would take the movies and the spooky season over dressing up. That's my my personal bias.
Cool.
I love dressing up. I'm not saying I don't like it, but to me, the true joy of Halloween is just like the spooky month of scaring yourself, going to haunted houses, watching creepy movies.
And speaking of spooky, today on our very special Halloween episode, you, the listeners, have written in your spooky ghost stories, and we're going to read some of them on the podcast. We got a lot of submissions. I was just reading a ton of spooky stories from people all across the country. Some of them were very long, and unfortunately, we can't read those. But
Do we have any international spooks?
Yeah, we have some from Norway. We have some from Poland. We have all sorts of people.
Because America, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure we got some ghosts. But Norway, I know for sure you got some spooky shit going on over there.
Middle Ages ghosts.
Yeah, and actually, we have a ghost story right from our very own office.
No.
From our production manager, Alexandria Herring. She's going to be in just a little bit.
She's a ghost?
She's actually a ghost. She died in 1920. And she has a ghost story that she experienced in her own apartment.
I've never touched her to see if she's a physical person.
Yeah.
I always just wave.
So before we get into it, what are your experiences with ghosts? Have you ever seen a ghost? Do you believe in ghosts?
All right, ghost check, boys. Who's seen one? Who's got the stories?
Who
do you believe?
I have semi-encountered spookiness before. I didn't see a ghost, but I felt like maybe I was staring at something, expecting something to happen, even though there was no reason for something. I was very drawn in a weird way that I can't explain.
So where were you? What?
I was at the Athenaeum, Chicago, which is this old building that used to be a part of a church. So that's clearly a recipe for spooky right there. So it used to be an old, used to be pastors, nuns, that sort of thing. I was there very late at night. I was unloading equipment after a college improv tournament regional competition. And we pulled up to the place, and I pulled up first, and I just threw some stuff in the elevator, took the elevator up to the office, and was going up. And I was as I was putting the stuff from the elevator to the office, which the door was right by the elevator, I kept feeling oh, it feels weird. Maybe it's just cold in here. I don't know. And I was just moving. I couldn't really think about it. And I just went up and I put it away. And then I got in the elevator and I hit the button to go down. And then I saw these big brown double doors at the end of the hall that are always there. And I was just staring at them. And I'm those doors are going to open. I don't know why. In my mind, it went, those doors are going to open. And of course they didn't open, but I just couldn't stop staring at them as my elevator door closed. And I was always thinking that right as my doors were about to close, I was going to see something. And then I went downstairs and I went to get the next load of equipment, and my boss had come back
and he was dead.
No, but he had also parked, and he said, how is everything? I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm taking equipment up. It feels kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I've never heard this late. And he's like, yeah, do you mind doing it yourself? And I was like, no. I was like, yeah, well, Nick, or actually I called him Classio. Classio is a friend of mine.
Better name.
Classio, they had just had a weird experience in this building, so they're not going in. And I don't know. I feel like the building is active tonight, is what my boss said, because he's always said that there's ghosts in this building, and I've been sure, Jonathan. And then he's like, it feels active tonight. I'm like, I kind of know what you mean right now, but I'll go and I'll load all the equipment myself. So I took 4 elevator rides up, always putting the equipment away. Every time I got in the elevator, I just felt this weird tension, and I stared at those doors, and I would find out later that there is supposedly a spirit that lives behind the in between those doors. It's like a breezeway between the hall to the theater, because some dude died in the theater, and that's where he is, and he's like the only bad one.
Oh man.
Like there's other ghosts there that are chill. There's like a little girl ghost that I've heard about. There's like this stage manager ghost I've heard about, but that guy is not a good guy. And it was the only time where I've been like,
Ooh, I like that.
I love it.
My nipples just got hard.
I saw nothing.
My nipples got so
But
hard.
I felt very, and every time I even like talk about it, it gives me the same like chills that I felt when I was like working.
Oh, but I wish you saw him. Well, maybe that's good. Maybe he was sparing you.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he was just like, nah, not that guy.
Here's what happens with ghost stories. I like when you ask, like, do I believe in ghosts? I'm like, nah, not really, but it'd be
No,
cooler.
look, my
if they
nipples are
exist.
hard.
But then when you told that story, when you get to that moment, I just feel a chill go down my cheeks, and I go, ooh, spooky.
Yeah,
just
I
talking
feel a
about my
little
hard
tingle
nipples.
tangle, but like if we look at like what actually happened in this story, you went up and down an elevator a bunch of times and looked at some doors that never opened.
And it was probably cold.
Eugene, you ever buy something online then find out you could have gotten it for less?
Yep.
You know, it's worse than being at the airport. They say, have a nice flight, and you say, you too. Because they're not getting on a plane. You are.
Oh, you
I
do
feel
that?
so embarrassed whenever I do
I
that.
bet you do that. I can
do
see
that
you doing
all
that.
the time. Once it happens, you feel like you could be overpaying every time you shop. You know, how do I know the good deals are the good deals? Luckily, Try Guys have Honey. It's the free browser extension that saves you time and money when shopping online. Honey scans the internet for coupon codes and other discounts. Then, like magic, it automatically applies the one with the biggest savings code to your cart at checkout. It knows about every coupon code, sale, or discount at over 20,000 sites like Amazon, Macy's, J.Crew, Domino's, Sephora, Target, and more.
Domino's.
Yeah.
Wait, hold up. Domino's?
Yeah. You
Oh,
can get discounted pizzas.
damn.
And check this out. Even if they don't have a discount code, they'll still help you out. So we were shopping for hard drives, right? We shoot a lot of videos, make a lot of gigabytes. And even though they didn't have a code for the hard drives, we still earned Honey points. And we used our Honey points to redeem for a gift card for $40 to all kinds of places. So you just shop like normal, and Honey finds you savings. And believe me, it feels amazing. Like you're boarding your plane, and they're like, oh, actually, we have a free first class upgrade. Honey has found its 10 million users over $1 billion in savings. Listen, there's really no reason not to use Honey. It's free to use and installs on your computer in just 2 clicks. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/tryguys. That's joinhoney.com/tryguys. Yeah.
Okay, so Ned clearly is the skeptic.
I don't know, you guys. Not really my thing. I don't really believe in ghosts. We did do a Hollywood Medium video one time where I believe I was hoodwinked into
Well, you were very moved,
seeing
though.
my ancestors.
Ned
I
is a
was
man of
very,
science.
Very moved.
He
Well,
wants things to be grounded in hard
I
science.
want things to be rational. I'm a man with a code. You know, you don't go to 7 years of science school to just then one day think that you're not a doctor of science. I'm
Well,
not a doctor.
You know,
I'm a
Ned, I
doctor.
think you were more emotional in that video because as someone who's highly rational, to have such emotional targeting on your feelings, you break easier than, say, me or Zach, who are constantly open to the idea of
I wanna-
someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Like,
was like,
if-
oh yeah, this is right.
If you put up such a big wall and then you get a little chink in your armor, it all comes flooding down.
So let's give context there. We did a video with Tyler, the Hollywood medium, a few years back. If you don't know, he's a medium. He claims that he can speak to the afterlife, and he has this great show where he'll go to like the Kardashians or to Andy Richter or Tom Arnold. It's
Or
always
Ned Fulmer.
and he'll just start seeing things, and he's claims that he's able to speak to the spirits. It's a very weird thing. He will start writing, just kind of scribbling on a paper. We did it with 2 of us at a time, which I'm sure was a little confusing for the spirits. But yeah, it was interesting. Ned came in very skeptical, and I'm sure audiences are surprised to hear now that you are back on the skeptical side because you were
I'm back, baby.
wildly moved
was
by that
tricked.
video. So you think you were tricked?
Well, I don't know, but I did read more into it and read about some of the ways in which your brain can see connections and find all of the meanings in things that are, specific. And, you only see like the things that are confirmed, and you kind of just dismiss the things that are incorrect because
do
you
wanna
want to
watch.
believe. It's nice to think that you can connect with your ancestors and talk to them.
I've wanted to go back and watch like the whole hour of the raw footage because we edited the video. I don't know quite how I felt coming out of that. I don't know if I believe that he does what we all think he does, but I know that I believe he does something. Whatever Tyler does is the most impressive thing I've ever encountered. Now, is that talking to spirits? I don't know.
I mean, I was crying at the end of it. I was like, I really thought I'd had a moment. And
Well, Zach, do you believe
I'm embarrassed by it.
Zach, do you believe in anything else?
Well, no, I am. It's cool.
Maybe we'll make you a believer again by the end of the day, Ned.
Sure.
Do I believe in anything else? What do you
like
mean?
ghosts, spirits, the main question we're
Vampires.
answering.
Yeah, probably.
Trolls.
I mean, vampires for sure. Trolls,
Lava
yeah.
people.
Lava people, absolutely.
Because if you believe in one, you got to open the door to all of them.
You know what's weird is I don't know that I believe
If
in...
you believe in ghosts, you believe in dragons. Like, probably.
Well, yeah, that's because... Well, dragons don't exist anymore, but...
Yeah.
Only ghost dragons.
I think I'm more likely to believe in ghosts than I am to believe in heaven. Is that crazy?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is,
Well,
yeah, that is.
then
Because
call
they're
me
like
crazy.
they're both the same logic of life after death.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe in I don't believe in the afterlife, but I'm okay with the idea of ghosts.
But ghosts are the afterlife.
That's very strange.
You're
They-
just
they-
talking about a set
The afterlife is
place.
just ghosts in some other place. You're saying you don't
They're
believe
corralled
that
ghosts.
there's
No.
a
Cocktail party of
Ghosts
ghosts.
can be an imprint of energy left upon the
Right.
universe. It can
Sure.
be.
What?
I don't believe in the idea of a wonderful little place where you're rewarded for the deeds of your life and you get to dance in fountains and drink milk from God's teat.
Whether ghosts are just a spooky noise or whether they're coming from the
Clearly
underworld.
he's not
Here to
Catholic.
answer that question is our very own production manager, Alexandria Herring, with her apartment ghost story.
Alexandria, get in
Alexandria, you
here.
can come on in.
Alexandria, you told me this story pretty casually in the kitchen the other day. So welcome. We're really excited to hear your spook tale.
Ooh, water
thanks for
cooler
having me.
conversation on the podcast. So what's spooky?
What's spooky?
What spooky thing happened to you?
Okay, so to paint a little picture here, I've been getting sleep paralysis on and off since I was a kid. And
You too, Keith?
Yeah, I've had it before.
yeah, and when you have it enough, it doesn't scare you. So when it happens, I usually just wait for it to pass. It's not like I'm panicking.
Can you explain what sleep paralysis is?
So when I get sleep paralysis, basically I'm mentally awake. Sometimes I can open my eyes, sometimes I can't, but I can't move my body. I can maybe twitch a little bit, but I'm completely aware of what's going on around me. I just can't move. So for example, I was in a car one time coming back from Vegas and I got sleep paralysis.
While you were driving?
No.
Okay.
I got sleep paralysis in the car for about 20 minutes, but I was completely aware of what was going on around me, so I could hear everyone talk, but I just couldn't move. And so when I was able to get up again, I like recounted the conversation I heard and everyone was like, oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. So it's something where I'm like completely awake and aware of what's going on around me. I'm just paralyzed.
Were they gossiping about you?
I was faking the sleep paralysis. I wanted to hear them gossiping.
Have you found that the paralysis is triggered by anything specific or is it just random occurrences?
It is triggered. It's triggered by stress or extreme sleep deprivation, which is why I got it coming back from Vegas.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you're at the point now where sleep paralysis, you're familiar with it and it doesn't frighten you.
Doesn't frighten me. It's more annoying. I wait for it to pass. Usually I live with my boyfriend. And so when I get it, sometimes if it's taking a long time to pass and I already have like my hand on him, I'll just try to like move him a little bit because he knows I get it. So if I move him enough, he can wake me up.
But I thought you're paralyzed, so like your hand can just move ever so slightly?
Ever so slightly. It's not enough to even look awake. At first, when I first started doing it, he thought I was just sleep twitching. So he left me alone, but it was me trying to get help. So when this ghost visited me,
Hold up. Okay.
So medically, sleep paralysis is often partnered with sort of dreamlike projections onto the space around you.
Well, spoiler alert.
Well, but
Wait, so
people
a
believe
ghost
that
visited
the real
you?
ends, and maybe that is the perfect window for a ghost to visit you.
Yeah, maybe it's where your mind is open.
Old medieval paintings, it was depicted by like a little demon goblin sitting on people's chests and covering their mouth. to symbolize a weight of being unable to stand and an inability to speak.
Oh, that's
And also
horrifying.
people thought that there were demons on the chest.
That's
Yeah, if you look up the Wikipedia page for sleep paralysis, it's someone laying in bed with a goblin just hunched over on their chest.
And that's the kind that my brother first had. But continue.
So just for a little more
Sounds like a good
background, I've
Tuesday
gotten
night.
sleep paralysis a lot, but I've never experienced that before. And I do know it happens to people, but it's never happened to me. So to paint the picture, it was the middle of the night. Sorry.
it's all right. Get the spirits
Way to
out.
cough off, Mike. That's pro podcast move.
Good. That was very good.
So it was middle of the night. I woke up and I had sleep paralysis. So at this point, my eyes were open, but I couldn't move my body. And so I was sleeping in bed, and I was sleeping in bed with my boyfriend. And so my back was to the door and my arm was already around him. And so I hear someone walking around my apartment. It's very clearly a man's footsteps. They're heavy, and I'm not imagining it. It's not creaking, it's clear footsteps. And so I hear them getting closer and closer. And by this point, I'm panicking because I still have the sleep paralysis and I can't move. And so I hear them walking into my bedroom, walking up to my bed right behind me because I was right on the edge of the bed, just facing the opposite direction. And my body is shaking. I'm digging my nails into my boyfriend, trying to wake him up. He's not waking up. And the ghost comes up behind me and says in a really creaky voice, "I'm just here to tuck you in." And so it was a little scratchier than that, but it seemed like the motive behind it was nice. But it also sounded like in Us, the one girl who hadn't spoken for years and her voice was all cracky. That's a little bit what he sounded like, kind of mixed with The Grudge. So it was very cracky, but he sounded like he was there with good intentions. But then what really freaked me out was he then pulled up the covers over my body and I could feel the sheets moving and see them moving. And then he was tucking it into my back. So like how you would tuck in a little kid, like a burrito.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
tucking me
burrito.
in. And then he placed his whole hand on my back and I could feel him touching me. And then I just had to wait for him to be gone. And then by the time I woke up and was able, or by the time I was able to move again, he was gone.
And were you tucked in?
I was tucked in.
Wow, my nipples are so hard. Look at them, they're so hard.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
So-
they are.
Oh, wow.
You could cut diamonds with those bad boys.
And,
on,
and I've asked
like
you this
those.
question before, but you didn't after this happened, you didn't then close your eyes, fall asleep, and then wake up again as if it were to be a dream. You were awake
Oh.
from the time that happened till you woke up, right?
Yes, I was awake that entire time, and then I stayed up for another 2 hours out of fear. I was figuring out if I should move out of my apartment, thinking should I move into my boyfriend's parents' apartment temporarily? Like, what's the fastest I can get out of here?
Have you done any research since to see, like, did any
Like a man die in that
sweet
space.
fathers die in that apartment?
I don't want to anger it, and I feel like in scary movies, when you start doing research and figuring out what it is, that's when everything gets crazy.
I'm just here to tuck you in.
You know, that was my strategy as a kid when I was afraid of the monsters, like under my bed. If I ever thought there was a monster, I would just close my eyes and pretend to be sleeping. Because according to movies, it's not satisfying to kill me if I'm asleep. They're going to wait for me to wake up so that they can scare me and then bite my head off.
Oh, I always
Classic
checked
misdirection.
under the bed and the closet before I went to bed.
You still
I
check
was-
your back seat for killer.
Yes, because that's the perfect place to sit if you're going to kill someone.
Yeah.
Backseat of the car or underneath the car and cut your Achilles.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds
That's a real.
Yeah.
that sounds like you got a ghost.
I think I do. I also considered, like, in these 2 hours after when I was awake, should I sage my apartment? But I thought that might anger him, so I decided not to.
Well, he sounds like a friendly ghost.
I
Just a
think
really
it is.
creepy ghost.
If
Doesn't
we
know his
take it on the
boundaries.
fundamentals of like what happened, like a sweet old man,
Broke
You
into
know,
your house.
just tucked you in, just wanted to make you feel safe and secure. Like, yeah, he had a raspy voice, but that's probably because of the ghost.
The dust.
But if like all he did was tuck you in and like, say, hey, yeah, okay, he's a stranger. Yeah, okay, he's a ghost. But like, seems like all just good vibes here,
Let's talk about
Might
how
as well be
tragic
like-
he is,
Yeah.
as a figure. He's in the afterlife. His unfinished business is to just give you a nice tuck in.
Are you sure
And
it was a guy? What if it was like an old Italian grandma?
No, she knew from the steps.
Yeah.
From the
I'm also not
steps.
Italian, and I feel like it would have been my grandma. But
It was my grandma.
I
It
talked
was
to my
Ned's
parents,
grandma.
and they had different theories about this. My mom her dad passed away young, and her brother passed away when I was little. So she thinks it might be a family member who I agree with. I think if this is a ghost, he's my ghost. My dad thinks that ghosts are attached to places and not people. And so he thinks this is my apartment's ghost.
Sleep paralysis is a weird phenomenon. All the Habersberger boys have had sleep paralysis.
You've had it?
With Brian having the most. He had it when he was young, and his was always the demon that sat on your chest or sat in the corner and muttered chaos at him while
Yikes.
covering his mouth. David's he was at college, and he was on a lofted bed. You know, you have loft beds in college, and he woke up and was paralyzed, and there was just like a decrepit man, like right in
my
front of
God.
his face.
Ew.
Mine,
Just the once?
Just the once.
Oh my God.
I also only had it the once, and I was having a nightmare where I was being chased by a murderer, and I woke up into sleep paralysis.
No.
And on the foot of my bed was just a body of a man with no head just standing on my bed.
No way.
And I couldn't move, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. Oh my God. But I knew what it was.
How? Because your brother.
Because I had talked to my brothers about sleep paralysis. Wow. And this happened to me still like 4 or 5 years after David had it. Mine was when I was a senior in high school. And it was like so scary because I was like, oh, it's just a dream. Oh no, I can't move. Oh, there's a man on my bed. Oh no, this is sleep paralysis, and this is my demon. Because at this point, the brothers and I had all called ours. Our demon was this. Our demon was that. So that was my demon. Was just a headless.
Wow.
Like it was all like a black fuzzy silhouette. Also, because I didn't have my glasses, so I couldn't actually see. So it was a black fuzzy silhouette with no head. But it didn't totally freak me out because I knew what it was. But I did have to like wait for my body to wake up, and it sort of disappeared. when I
Wait,
looked
so
away and
your
looked back.
brain also made the image fuzzy because you didn't have glasses?
Yeah, I guess
well, his
so.
brain didn't
Wow.
make it.
Or
His
everything is
vision
fuzzy.
did for the real thing that was there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess it's probably because
right.
the whole
Sure.
room was fuzzy, you know?
So how do you differentiate between you just seeing a figure from your imagination because you had a nightmare or it being a ghost? Because I
Well,
truly believe my ghost was a ghost.
Yours sounds more ghosty than mine, but also like I had just known that projections are part of the Habersberger's type of sleep paralysis. And that I had heard so many stories about it, so I didn't think ghost. I thought that's my demon.
Alexandria, what's next for your ghost? You know, it's been a couple months now since
I
this
watch you sleep?
happened. Yes, can Eugene watch you sleep?
I will watch you sleep.
He's just there to tuck you in.
Is Eugene my ghost?
Eugene's your ghost.
It's me all the time. No, I'm curious. I've always wanted to witness someone in sleep paralysis, though I would not know since you are still
You wouldn't know,
technically
yeah.
asleep. Yeah.
It is interesting when you can open your eyes, but you
Yeah.
can't move. So that would be the only fun thing to
I've
watch.
seen friends have sleep paralysis. I have a couple who have really severe sleep paralysis, and I've been at like their houses when they're just wide open eyes and just not moving. And I'm like, oh, he's having his moment. One of them has a demon,
Ooh.
that follows him. Yeah, always in the corner, a corner demon. Often corner demons.
Yeah, that's
malicious.
wow.
Ryan's
Apparently.
would start in the
Yeah.
corner and crawl on his chest.
Yeah,
Oh my God, you watch it
but
crawl?
I think yours sounds very ghost-like.
I think so. I don't think he's my demon.
I'm gonna take it from your Korean mother's side and say that it's a family member.
I assumed it just sat on your chest still like a little statue. You watch it crawl?
No, it crawls. I mean, sometimes you wake up and it's on your chest, but other times it
God.
you watch it crawl and then you feel the weight of it on your chest and then it covers.
Oh, yeah.
I think I
Sounds
got
like a
lucky. I don't
nightmare.
want
No,
that.
seriously, sounds
Yeah,
like
jeez.
a nightmare.
Well, Alexandria, thank you for this definitive proof of ghosts.
Yeah.
We're very sorry that you're haunted, and if anything happens to you, we know that you just got tucked in too well.
Wow, great Zach.
Oh my God! Do not show me pictures of
These
the
are all
sleep
the
paralysis.
various
Ooh, I wanna
artist
see.
depictions of demons on the chest.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
And it's interesting just because they date back to like
Long
you know
time.
the 12 and 1300s of people. So this is just a weird human body phenomena that has been happening, or there's a series of demons that prey on sleep paralysis people.
That's true.
Alexandria, if you have any more spooky updates in the months to come, we hope you don't. But if you do, let us know. We'll have you back.
Yeah,
I'll be back.
we'd love to have ghost updates.
But we got
Bye,
some
Bye,
more.
guys. Thank you.
Miles, you have some ghost stories for us.
Yes, sir. Here are some of your very special ghost stories you have written in to give us to read on the podcast. I'm going to have this first one be read by
The
Zachary.
spookiest boy.
Okay. All right, this comes from our friend Mara. That's not her real name, but we protect names here. It's labeled as Inbox and Spooky. What up, Miles Nation? You just want me to read that line?
Yeah, that's it.
Right,
Next.
Anyway, I'm a medium. I've been able... Oh, no. We're going to have some discussions about this. I've been able to talk to dead people since I was a small child. We're talking like 3 years old. I could see them, talk to them, interact with them, all that jazz. I'm going to pause there for a second. That's if you could talk to dead people from 3 years old.
That seems legit. She says she sees them.
She sees them, talks to them, interacts with them.
Very Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
Sense.
Seeing them is intense. I can understand somebody who thinks they talk to them, like Tyler, who talks to them, but he's in his brain, but he doesn't like astral project them and like see them in the space.
I don't think I've ever actually heard of someone being able to see them.
That's cool.
I have.
Go on. I know you've seen people, right?
Yeah, but that's different. That's
Eugene's
my own
got
stories.
spooky
Let's go back
blood.
to
What are you talking about,
Mara's.
Eugene? You can't drop that and then...
Hey, we'll get to it after the
Okay,
letter.
all right. And all that jazz, which makes me think that she's doing like
And all
little
that jazz.
dance
See
numbers
a
with them.
ghost today.
One day, I was looking at a farmhouse for sale with my mom, my aunt, and my cousin. My aunt?
Oh, boy.
We went to the basement, and it was limestone, a great energy conductor. I did not know that.
Uh-huh.
So I walk up to the second floor and walk past a room and immediately notice an old farmer guy in the corner covered in blood. Spoiler alert, he's a ghost.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. That's
intense.
I looked at the closet and he ran over to it and gave the warning not to open it.
Huh.
I just want to nipple check. How are you guys doing? Because
I'm
mine
excited.
are
So
hard.
Mine are getting hard.
Medium.
Not hard yet, but
Mine are
interested.
getting turgid. Well, me, being stupid, I open the closet. The second I open the door, I feel his hands reach inside of my chest and squeeze my heart, and suddenly I'm unable to breathe. This ghost was out to kill me. Whew. I walk out of the room, and he stopped, and then I casually told my family, hey, don't go in that room. I can't even drive by that house without seeing his face or feeling like I'm going to die. Anyway, that's my spooky ghost encounter, but if it's not enough, I've got plenty more.
She shouldn't have opened the door.
Yeah, I mean...
Wait, so the
That's like
farmer
a classic
said,
horror
don't
setup.
come in here.
Yeah.
And then she did, and he's like, gotcha. I got that with my hand.
Classic horror setup. Wow.
Why would he warn her and then be the aggressor?
Well, because I think it's part of maybe he knows the curiosity killed the cat, right? It's like, if a ghost told that to you, would you
Do
be
you
like,
think the farmer it ran to the closet?
Yeah.
It run. I just want all my ghosts to like run like that. It's so spooky.
Well, honestly, what I get if there's a farmer covered in blood and he's saying, don't open something, I don't think that it's some crazy riddle. I think that it is like, hey, I am a man who murdered my family and then murdered myself, and the remains of my family are in this closet. That's where I hid them. And if you open them, you'll see all my shame. And I'm
or
gonna go
he's like
crazy.
he was like a serial murderer, and that's where he kept like body parts.
Yeah.
I thought it was more like he got accidentally cut up by his equipment, and he kept a bunch of knives and axes in there, and she opened it. All of them were going to fall on her, and he was trying to be protective.
But then
That
he
was
tried
not
to
the
kill
case.
her.
Then he tried to
Yeah.
kill her. So I
At first, he
was
seemed
wrong.
friendly, but he wasn't.
He seemed friendly. I thought he was a nice guy.
See this, okay, being very open-minded, I think that I believe her because she must have such experience seeing ghosts that the initial appearance of a bloodied farmer didn't freak her out enough to run out of the house. Like she was just like, okay, a bloody one, that's new.
Makes sense. Farming
And,
is a
okay,
very
I'm gonna go open
difficult
this door.
profession.
People are always bleeding when they pick raspberries.
I mean, she's
Of course.
Yeah, it sounds like that seems like a terrifying experience. But it does seem like that then, as someone who sees ghosts a lot, that most of them must be pretty innocuous.
And I think it's like usually when people see ghosts, like it sounds on paper like she's like, oh, it's crystal clear. Usually it's like, oh, it was like a bloodied farmer, but it was kind of hazy. It was there and it was not there kind of thing.
Hers seemed pretty clear.
It seems pretty
Yeah.
clear though. But
Hey,
she
maybe.
can see ghosts since she was 3.
Don't
so
come in the closet. I have my fall sweater collection in there.
You know,
A fashion ghost.
so I would never not believe her because, you know, I'm down for this spook. But I did originally have a problem because I'm like, okay, if you see ghosts all your life, why are you not giving me further details? I kind of like your theory, Eugene, that she sees ghosts so often and they normally don't do nothing. They're just kind of there,
Yeah.
which is spooky.
Here's the next spooky story. that I would love Eugene to read.
I guess I'll do it in a regular voice and not a fun, spooky voice.
Well, you can
Yeah.
kind of put an edge of spook on it.
Yeah.
Give it a little mustard, you
Give a
know?
little
Give it a little
razzmatazz.
I like.
little
You guys know I
t-shirt.
like doing my Dracula voice.
Yeah.
This is called Spooky.
There you go.
Oh.
Hey guys, I've got a good ghost story for you. One holiday season, when I was about 12 or 13, we were in upstate New York visiting family. It got late and me, my mother, and brother decided to stay at my cousin's house. He let us know that there was a ghost who liked to walk up and down the stairs. The upstairs was a converted attic. I slept in a full-size bed, and my mom in the attic, and my brother slept on the couch at the bottom of the stairs in the living room. Ooh. We had lived in an apartment in Queens that always had ghost activity. Our building was around the street from a cemetery. I grew up used to all sorts of noises, kids running around, things moving. So I thought nothing of this ghost my cousin told us about. Well, in the middle of the night, I could hear walking up and down the stairs. I rolled over to look and could see a man in a long trench coat walking on the stairs, though I could see through him. When he reached the top, he turned to look at me, and then all of a sudden, I felt a rush of air. The man was now in my face, nose to nose, and I could see the bridge of his nose, eyes, and eyebrows. I even felt his breath on my face.
What does it smell like?
I was frozen, and the man calmly stood up and went back downstairs. I tried to wake up my mom, but she was dead asleep.
Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my
So
god.
I curled up next to her with the blanket over my head, though I didn't hear the man walking again for the rest of the night.
He was dead.
It sounds like sleep paralysis.
Asleep.
Sounds
she
a bit like
she
it.
saw a demon. It ran right to her face, and she was frozen with fear, which is she was paralyzed. And yeah, that seems like a classic case of sleep paralysis right there.
Okay, Buzzkill. Clearly, that is a demon. Here's how we know. 1, it's in New York. 2,
That's true.
trench coats. 3, the mom was dead.
Asleep.
Asleep.
I like that.
Dead asleep.
That verbiage.
And he also says that in the morning, his cousin and brother also said they heard walking.
Huh.
That makes it
So it
less
was
likely to be sleep
corroborated
paralysis.
by other family members.
Why do we think
Oh, boy.
that ghosts love the moon so much? I never hear about the daytime ghosts. And it also seems like they love the spooky places, like the old theater or the abandoned hospital. But plenty of people just die in car crashes in the middle of the street. I never hear about intersection ghosts.
Probably because it's hard to have a hallucination when it's bright lights out and you're in the middle of a park.
I don't know. This sounds like, the cousin says that the ghost was already there and walked up and down the stairs. So this is one of those classic, you go to your friend's house or your family's house and they say, there is a ghost here, like in the theater that you were at, that does this thing and is this in this spot. Maybe that story is planted in people's heads, but that's usually where I see most people experience
Here's
ghosts.
a good example of like a story that existed, but wasn't planted in my friend's head. So it was again at the Athenaeum. This place is riddled with ghosts, but it was just a friend of one of our producers was there visiting. She was in the neighborhood, said, "Hey, could I come use the bathroom?" So she was like, "Sure." The bathroom's on the second floor. Girl went up to use the bathroom, and she used the bathroom like normal. And as she was washing her hand, she saw like a little girl like looking through the stall at her, and she just thought, oh, that's and then she like went back to washing and looked back. She didn't see the little girl. She's like, oh, little girl must have left. So she went out and said, yeah, I was in there washing my hands and I thought I saw a kid. Are there day camps going on? It's like, no, there's no day camps today. There's no children here. And then she's like, I thought I saw a little girl. And then Jonathan like whips around and said, you saw the little girl in the bathroom? And she's like, yeah. It's like, that's one of the ghosts. She's like a little nun who died, like a little girl in a nunnery who died there. A little girl in a nunnery who died in the bathroom, like some eons ago.
Oh,
and
like
this
Moaning
girl
Myrtle.
didn't know that this was a ghost situation. He whips around to be like, you like
Yeah, shared
excited
experience.
because She's one of like the nice ghosts that like some people see, but most people see her after knowing that she's like there's supposed to be a girl there, and this girl just
Had seen her without
had
even
this
knowing.
experience not knowing anything about the history of this building.
Yeah, this sounds like this was a ghost.
So that was a good. That was like a
in
more
this
like
apartment.
that seems more confirming than others, just because she happened to she described the girl the same way she's supposedly.
Wow.
What scares me
That's
about
pretty
this?
cool.
What scares me about this ghost is the speed. So this is a ghost that walks slowly,
You don't want a
and then
fast
in an
ghost.
instant came up to this
Don't want
person's
that.
face.
That's spooky.
That's spooky. But then did nothing malicious, just stared at him. This is very eerie, but I wonder if there must be something. This feels like an unfinished situation.
Right.
Why be walking up and down a staircase?
Well, unfinished because he had the talent to be an Olympic sprinter, and then he died before he got his shot.
But
Like,
only
I mean-
when running downstairs. He goes upstairs very slowly, but he can descend like a crazy man.
10 minutes.
Eugene, you've been sort of on the cusp of telling us about seeing a real ghost at some point, and I think it's about time we find out what the hell
About
you're
my
thinking.
ghost history?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some notable ones.
So I'm open to the unknown. I think I maybe believe more in aliens than ghosts.
Hell yeah.
But-
everyone believes in aliens.
Yeah, well, not
do a whole
everyone
nother-
does.
Conceded not to.
We'll do a whole other episode on
Yeah.
aliens. That'll be our
I don't know if they're here, but I believe they're out there.
Which is weird because like very religious people believe in ghosts but not aliens. I don't know.
Crazy.
Anyway,
So wrong.
my family has a history that I've spoken about with spooky stuff. People in my family can see when people are about to die. That's like the bottom line.
So, okay, you say that very casually. Dive in there. There's a grayness to people, right?
It's called The Gray.
That's
But
like a great movie.
Yep.
yeah, but I don't want to like call people out in my family, but someone in my family was raised by the teat of the town psychic, and the town psychic could also I think the town psychic could curse people to die. And then so this person in my family has on multiple occasions predicted when someone would die when they seemed perfectly healthy.
He or she will remark that they looked a little gray today.
They looked gray and would say they would look gray. Why does this person look sick? And the next day they'd be dead.
And these are sometimes people that appear perfectly healthy.
Yeah,
in
one
every
was
way.
one was a guy who slipped and hit his head on a swimming pool and drowned, and he was perfectly healthy, 40-year-old dude. Another was someone
Whoa. So she thought he looked gray,
before the accident.
and then he just had an accident.
yeah.
That's a movie.
That's okay.
that's
So that
cool.
I thought it was she could see imminent death, but that's like marked for death situation.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like destiny and
It's-
fate.
That's Final Destination.
Creepy. And this person,
Predictions.
is just not someone who would tell, she doesn't seem spooky. She also thinks that I've been blessed with some sort of sixth sight in some way because I'm very empathetic. Out of all the siblings,
And you
she's
speak
like,
well with animals.
yeah, I do.
You do
I
commune
do
with
talk a lot
animals.
with
You're like
animals.
More
a
than most
druid.
people.
A little bit, I guess. But I guess my closest ghost is throughout a large part of my life, and I don't talk about this much, but I talk about the instances, is I sometimes see, I call him the silhouette, and it's a silhouette of a man who stands behind windows or backlit windows and watches me. It's happened in many of the apartments I've lived in. It happened when I was in high school at my house, but I'll be sitting somewhere or standing, and it's not even like necessarily while I'm asleep, but I'll turn and I'll see just the silhouette of a man standing, looking into the space I'm in, usually behind a curtain, not moving, and we'll stand there for like over 30 minutes. And it happened in the most recent time it happened was in my new apartment. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and I turned and the silhouette was there, and I just didn't move, and it actually walked away, but it was there for 20 minutes looking into my apartment.
So when this happens,
Same silhouette though.
you try and just ignore it, or do you feel like an energy shift with
I feel an energy shift, and because my immediate reaction is not to move. I don't like stand up and like, hey, I'm gonna like check this out. My immediate reaction is don't move towards it or whatever it is. Because I wish it would move, because it would give me more of an indication if I should run or like talk to it.
Has he ever been here at this office?
No, never at this office. Usually places where I live. But in any case, yeah, I'd say I've seen this apparition of sorts like 20 times in my life.
Is there a time of day that it typically relates to?
It's been anywhere between evening to early morning. Yeah. But not always when I'm asleep. It's sometimes when I'm just sitting there.
Do you have any working theories as to what it might be?
I have no clue. But I don't I don't know if he is malicious or if he is benign.
And I want to know more about the feeling that you have. Is it like a tingling throughout? Do you feel scared or you just feel paralyzed? Of sorts?
No, I think it's actual dread.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the
Maybe
idea
you
of
should
someone
call it the dread.
I don't know. I think just the idea of someone looking in at you from somewhere and not moving is, I think, just inherently scary. So I'm just always like, but it doesn't happen often. 20 times in my life it's a lot, but it's like I'm 33, so
Yes, not every year.
no. But it happens, and I don't know what to explain of it. But I mentioned it to this person who has the gray, and she thinks that perhaps it's connected to it somehow, like maybe it's the demon associated with the power that we have or some shit. Anyway,
Here's a question.
like
for
the
you.
demon that granted the sight to
Right,
the psychic who then
is coming to take it back.
Some sort
Or it's
of
like
devil
watching-
over
yeah.
to make sure that the power was held tight.
because the idea of the gray is not it's not like a positive power to have.
no,
Because
it's
it
a
certainly is
depressing
traumatic
power, I
and-
imagine.
Have you ever seen The Gray?
I don't want to confirm or deny it out loud because it makes me sound crazy, and I don't want to confirm it because I don't want it. Does that make sense?
Right?
It-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen what I thought was a semblance of it, and someone did die, but I don't think it was because of me, because I can't bring up the story because it's so
I
bad.
know.
You know
Is
the
it the
story.
story?
It's the story about
Yeah.
the kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out to me.
That makes sense.
But in that situation, I think I cursed that kid.
yeah.
Right.
But he did appear grayish
Oh, man.
before. Anyway.
Okay, here's something I'm
Mhm.
dying to know. If you or another saw gray within one of us, would you tell us? Or is it too late?
I don't know the rules of
I
it.
just have to beat the gray by 1 second.
Oh, but that makes it sound like Final Destination, doesn't
Well,
it?
No, because look, you,
What
you
if
saw,
what if
the person saw gray and then he slipped and cracked his head. That's not like, hey, you have the gray, go to the doctor. It's,
Right,
You
yeah.
have the gray, there's nothing you can do
Yeah,
about
it's gonna
it.
get you.
Yeah.
Well, each time
Settle your affairs.
she told
Call
she
your
told
mom.
me
Call your mom.
each time she told me about the instances she had it, the death happened within the next few days. It wasn't like it's next year.
Oh.
Right. It's soon.
One was someone who was in remission, and everyone went to visit her in the hospital, and she was like, the doctors were like, fucking like A-okay. She's like gonna be good. And then
Your person.
the gray happened, and the next day immediately just dead.
And wasn't it your person left the hospital room and went,
Immediately went, no, she's not okay. And yeah.
Mm.
And this person I'm talking about is very sane. It was like the most random thing that she dropped at like a casual dinner with me, and was just like, she kind of brought up with like, oh, I'm curious, have you ever like seen anything weird? Like, because I know that you're just so much, I share a lot with you, and I don't know, do you ever feel like dark sometimes? Because I know you're very dark. She thinks maybe it's connected to the gray. I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, but there's more about this world than we don't know than we do.
The ocean.
Maybe, Eugene, you have extrasensory perception.
I hope it's that, because
ESP.
whatever the thing it actually sounds like it sounds like that I'm actually, people in my family are cursing people to die, which I think
It
is
kind of sounds a little bit cursy.
or like is connected to some dark malevolent force that they can look into the
Grim
the
Reaper.
marking of someone who's
Wow.
about like
Maybe they should keep a notebook and write down like their wins and losses.
yeah. Well, I certainly have always
to
felt,
verify.
I think aside from ghosts, I
great
certainly have felt a
percentage.
very strong connection with the idea of death. Like I often say, how I'm afraid of planes. I'm not afraid of planes. I'm afraid of death.
Yeah, and the
I've always been
inability
afraid
to
of-
control your
yeah.
ability to survive.
And I've
But
always
you don't
had
know how to fly a plane.
yeah, but like the idea of being
exactly, I think that's what it is.
the idea of being
Exactly.
outside of the control of something where someone's about to die has always terrified me, and I wonder now if that is connected to this.
See, I have the opposite. I've gotten
Death-like
in the
figure.
phase like if I'm in an airplane and it starts to go down, well, that's it. I'm not going to panic about it because there's literally nothing I can do. So why would I even panic? I'm like, well, it's over. If I'm not with Becky, I'm going to try to call her, and that's it. That's going to be it. And whenever I've been flying with Becky, I'm like, it's okay. If we die, we die together. So we're good.
Well, no, the moment of something crashing, yeah, you can have that feeling, but my dread of even boarding a plane is what's incapacitating.
I know that's
I
why
feel
I'm
like the other
voting
way
for
around.
I'm just giving up my right to. Who knows what's going to happen? to
There's
me,
nothing
but
you can do either way, so you might as well not be worried about it.
That's how I am.
Whereas if a plane gets super turbulent and like goes into a mini nosedive for a sec, then I freak out a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's like a physical.
I think
thing
what I'm trying
because
to
you're
what I'm
basically
trying
on a
to
roller
explain
coaster.
is that I am more dreadful because I feel a targeting. I feel like why am I more scared than you when I have the same idea that of course it's inevitable if it happens. It's that I feel on things like roller coasters, even a zip line or walking across the street, that there's something there that's looking to take something down or take something out of life. And maybe it's because there's a history or a strong relationship with the Grim Reaper, I guess, within my family. I don't know. That's just a little thing.
I get it. You're closer to it, so
I guess the one
you see,
positive
like,
is
you might see it.
The one positive, I guess, is that we're kind of on the side of death and not on the receiving end. But I also think that it certainly makes our Christmas dinner conversations very strange because I actually think that she dropped this during Christmas once.
So, like, was the takeaway "Don't fly, spirit"?
Hey,
Well, you become a
Guys,
joke.
this has been a spooky show, and I don't really believe in spooks, but maybe I would if I had some advice.
Wait, can I say something real quick? I know the person I'm talking about is listening because they listen to this. I'm so sorry. I'm so
we
sorry
didn't
about this.
out you though.
Well, hey
Wait,
there.
when you say real quick, when you say the person you're talking about, do you mean the person who sees the gray, or do you mean the shadowy figure?
God, why would you say that?
Well, I just want to know if the shadowy figure, like,
Is a fan.
if we have subscribers in the other realm, that's huge, dude.
Shadow Demon, if you're not subscribing, we hope you subscribe. Shadow Demon, we hope you leave us a 5-star review. And Shadow Demon, check out some of our new merch at tryguys.com. It helps support the show. It helps support our staff. We got some great stuff on there.
Guys,
Shadow
what
Demon,
if-
we got zip-up hoodies.
What if Ned gets visited tonight?
By a sleep paralyzation.
Like, I don't
demon?
want to wish that upon you, but what if you come in tomorrow and are like, guys, there was a fucking demon that
Shadow
crawled on my
Demon,
chest.
bring on all the curses. I want all of you to hex me right now.
all you listeners out there.
All you listeners, I want you to cast a hex on me with your minds.
Send an
as
email
long
to
as
hexned
as long as you subscribe to the show. Remember when you asked everyone to Venmo you? What if I asked everyone to put a curse or a hex on me, and we'll just see what happens?
Ned, don't do that.
I just did.
Ned, don't do
I
that.
already did.
Ned.
I already did.
Now,
We'll
just
see
to be
what
clear,
happens.
are they going to send hexes via Venmo, or what's the best way to...
But also, I want you guys, some of you guys out there, to send positive hexes to counterbalance the hexes.
Well, then you'll never know if you got hexed.
I'll just be, my body and soul will be a proxy war for the unknown and the occult, just the way I like it.
No death hexes, please.
Definitely.
No
death
just
hexes.
Like a weird, a weird boil.
Like make
that's
like
fine.
a funny bug crawl out of his nose.
Yeah, or sickness.
Okay,
That's-
wait. Do
yeah.
we need a
Don't do death
specific hex, or is it just if something
Yes,
bad happens to Ned?
Bug in the nose.
Bug in the nose.
But he's going to explain that away. Ned's going to say, well...
No, not if it
If I
happens next
get
week.
a bug crawl out or in or around my nose in the next 7 days, I will believe in ghost stuff.
Guys, send your
Everybody-
bug nose.
All of your
Bug in the nose.
hexes.
Bug nose. Bug nose.
I will even accept very large boogers.
All right.
Wonderful.
No, just kidding.
No, it needs to be a
gotta
bug.
be a
That's
bug.
too far. It's got to
Bug
be a
in the
bug.
nose.
All right. This is a segment called Advice That'll Go for Miles with the youngest and least experienced member of the Try Guys staff, Miles.
Spooky Bon Signore.
What's up, Ghost Town?
There it is.
Do you want to be a nuclear physicist at 11:12 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I live in Chernobyl.
Do you want to be as smart as George Washington?
They always pick up the microphone.
Smarties have brains, and brains need fuels.
And brains are delicious.
And you could be a if you want to be as smart as Albert Einstein, George Washington, and Lincoln, Nebraskans, you could pick up the habit of reading before bed.
Oh, that's where we're getting.
Oh boy.
Books are good.
Books are good.
Books are
Books
good.
are good, yeah.
And if you don't believe that, you're a punk ass bitch.
Oh.
Yeah, bitch.
If you don't know how to read, learn.
Whoa.
Whoa, Ned.
I think most of our listeners would know how to read.
Well, this is a podcast, so maybe not.
That's true.
But if you don't know how to read, learn it because it's really good for you. And also, watching TV before bed can stifle your sleep. Blue light's not good for the brain.
That's true.
And reading books can also make you tired because it's just like, you're processing information, but it's nice. It's learning things. And also, I don't read enough, and I've been reading more, and it's been good.
What you been reading?
Stephen King's On Writing. I've been reading.
Good book.
I've also been reading another Stephen King book. It's called The Outsider. It's a new one on my Kindle. By the way, Kindles are fucking rad. Get a Kindle.
I want to say I did a shot at Stephen King in one of our videos the other day, but I will say I do actually love him. I talked about The Shining, and On Writing is a fantastic book. I highly recommend. It's one of the better books about writing out there.
So I do this, and I do it so well that it takes me so long to read books because I get 2 pages in, bam, asleep. I'll also say, read fiction before bed.
Yes.
Oh,
Nonfiction will get your brain juices flowing and make it difficult to fall asleep.
I have the opposite reaction.
depends on the person.
When I read a book,
That's my truth.
I can't go to sleep.
Oh.
Like
Any book?
any book I'm into.
So
Yeah.
what's your wind down?
My wind down is
Fine.
right now it's probably Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
TV
me too.
shows. Yeah.
But the blue light's not good
To
for
be
brain.
honest, it's not good. But yeah, no,
just
really,
listen to
really good books. I can't fall asleep because I keep reading them.
Yeah, I think it's like for me, like I watch TV so. I mean, I guess we all do. We watch TV so much that it's just like an additional habit. And then I'm also like, there's nothing shining at me. I can have my book. I can look at the wall. It makes you a little like not bored, but it just makes you slow down.
You can't
Relaxes
do
your
the book. You
eyes.
can't read in the dark.
That's true.
You have to have the fucking light on.
Well, but if you have an orange toned bedroom light that's not too bright,
Yeah,
it'll activate melatonin in your body
that's true.
and start relaxing you, and so you can go to sleep.
And then the demon visits.
And then it crawls out of the corner.
This has been another episode of the TryPod.
Are you a believer now, Ned? Well, we'll see in a week once the spider comes out of your nose.
Guys, if you need a book to read before bed, we got a book. It's called The Hidden Power of Fucking Up. If you maybe you're like, fuck books, I want to listen to podcasts before bed. Well, you just listen to one, baby. And if you want us to help, if you want to help us turn Ned into a believer, send those bug nose hexes our way. We want creepy crawlers all up in Ned's
I
nostrils.
want your thoughts and your prayers and your creepy bug hexes.
Are we thinking like worms or
Any
crickets?
bugs.
We'll just have to find out in 7 days when nothing happens.
More legs the better. Centipede? Oh my god, that would be a terrible nose crawler.
Any bug.
Anyway, have a spooky, safe Halloween out there, everybody. If you're gonna have a ghost, maybe ask him to tuck you into bed. That'd be a nice thing, right? We'd all like that. Don't forget to leave us reviews.
And enjoy all of our Halloween costumes that I'm sure we'll post within the next day.
Yep. Until next time, Keith, hit us with the official TryPod theme song.
You wake up and you cannot move, and you see there's a demon that's starting to groove, and he sits on your chest and puts his hand on your mouth and whispers nonsense into your ear. TryPod.
Until next time, stay beautiful.
Happy Halloween!
Boogity boogity ba.